Young and the Restless spoilers December 10th. Victor taunts Jack, Noah sees Audra. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, December 10th, reveal that Victor is once again all-powerful, and he is now using his power to target Jack, while Noah comes face-to-face with his past in the form of Audra. Key takeaways. Victor goes full supervillain against Jack. Noah sees the woman he wronged years ago. Sally and Billy plan a launch party, yet again. Next on YNR. Now that Victor, Eric Braden, has Kane's, Billy Flynn, AI program, he can literally do whatever he wants to whomever he wants, and they can't do anything about it. He's a complete monster now, and boy, is he happy about it. He can finally bring down Jack, Peter Bergman. He has a plan, and he is practically cackling with glee over it. But there is one thing Victor hasn't counted on: Nikki, Melody Thomas Scott. What if, just this one time, she won't do everything her domineering, gaslighting husband says, and actually thinks for herself? And what if that thought involved stopping her husband from destroying the man who saved Nikki's life? Noah and Audra reunite. Noah, Lucas Adams, admitted to his mommy and daddy that things weren't going great with him and Allie, Kelsey Wong. That's why he took up Sienna, Tamara Braun. Relationships have never been Noah's strong point. Audra, Zuleika Silver, is the face of all that is wrong with humanity now. But remember that Noah was the one who dumped her back in England? She never even got the chance to tell him she was pregnant. Audra miscarried, and when Noah found out, Sharon Case, made sure he knew he was the biggest victim and entitled to the most sympathy. Is it any wonder this spoiled kid never takes responsibility for his actions? Maybe running into Audra again in Genoa City will help with that. Though we doubt it. Sally and Billy plan a launch. The last time Sally, Courtney Hope, and Billy, Jason Thompson, tried to throw a launch party, Kane sabotaged it. Now that Kane is out of commission, they're trying again. Silly, Sally plus Billy equals silly. Victor is still out there, and Victor is still determined to be the only successful mogul in town. He's got big plans for humiliating Jack. But until then, why not practice on Jack's little brother, and the woman who never gave Victor the time of day? Does Sally not realize that all newcomer females to Genoa City must fall under the spell of Victor Newman, so that he may manfully slap them away like annoying gnats? Sally never did that. Sally shall have to pay. Read next. The winter sunlight over Genoa City filtered through a veil of gray clouds, casting the streets in a quiet, metallic glow. It was the kind of morning that promised trouble, not through thunder or storm, but through sharp, deliberate whispers traveling between people who had more power than they should and more secrets than they could contain. At Newman Ranch, Victor Newman stood in front of the massive window overlooking the land he ruled like a king surveying his kingdom. His expression was carved from stone, but in his eyes, dark, calculating, and faintly amused, there was a spark that hinted he was enjoying himself far too much for anyone's comfort. A knock sounded at the door. "Come in," Victor said without turning. The door opened and Jack Abbott stepped inside, the edge of tension around his shoulders visible from across the room. "You wanted to see me?" Jack said, trying to keep his voice neutral. Victor finally turned, lips curving in a slow, smug smile. "What an unexpected pleasure." Jack exhaled sharply. "Let's not play games. Your assistant said you had something urgent to discuss." Victor took a leisurely step forward, folding his hands behind his back. "I simply thought it was time the two of us had a little conversation." Jack stiffened. He knew Victor too well. The man didn't invite him for pleasantries. He invited him when he wanted to twist a knife. Victor circled around Jack. The way a wolf might circle prey, he had no intention of actually eating, just tormenting. "I hear Jabot is having a few challenges." Jack's jaw tightened. "Jabot is doing just fine." Victor hummed skeptically. "I suppose that's one way to look at it. Of course, the numbers I've seen don't support that, but far be it from me to tell a man how to run his family company." Again. "That's rich coming from you," Jack shot back coldly. "You've interfered in Abbott business for decades." Victor offered a small shrug. "Only when I felt you were in over your head." Jack stepped forward. "If this is your attempt to goad me into something, don't bother. I'm not interested." Victor chuckled, low and dangerous. Oh, but I think you are. You always are when it comes to me. It's what makes this rivalry so entertaining. Jack shook his head and turned to leave, but Victor's voice stopped him like a steel chain hooking into his spine. Before you go, I should congratulate you, Jack. Jack paused, suspicious. For what? For surviving this long. Victor's tone darkened, his smile fading into something sharper. But even legends fall eventually. And when yours does, I intend to be there to watch. Jack stared at him for a long moment, breathing slowly through rising anger. You're living in the past, Victor. This obsession with beating me, it's tired. You want to see me fall? Keep dreaming. Victor's lips twitched. Dreaming? Planning? Always. Jack didn't give him the satisfaction of a response. He walked out without another word, though the tension between them crackled in the air long after the door closed behind him. Victor smiled to himself. Round one of the day? Complete. Across town, Society Restaurant. Noah Newman had been back in Genoa City for less than a week, and already the city felt like it was tugging him in a dozen directions at once. Returning home was supposed to be simple: help his parents, work on some new projects, catch up with old friends. But Genoa City never did simple. He pushed the door open to Society, tugging his coat off as he headed toward the bar. The early lunchtime crowd was buzzing with chatter, business meetings, couples whispering over cocktails, and the low hum of espresso machines. He gave the bartender a nod. Hey, Evan. Just a coffee, thanks. You got it, Evan replied. Taking a seat at the bar, Noah exhaled, letting his mind drift, until a flash of familiar movement caught his eye near the entrance. A woman stepped inside, brushing hair from her face as she glanced around the room with graceful ease. Audra. Noah's breath hitched. Of all the people he expected, or hoped, not to see today, she was at the top of the list. Audra Charles looked effortless as always, stunning, confident, radiant with that particular brand of poise that made people instinctively look twice. But for Noah, the sight of her felt like reopening a wound he thought he'd patched months ago. He froze, wrestling with an instinct to duck behind the bar like some ridiculous cartoon character. Instead, he remained rooted to his stool, unsure whether to get up and leave or stay and pretend he hadn't noticed her. Unfortunately, fate intervened before he could choose. Audra saw him. Her eyes widened briefly, surprise, then something softer, then a mask of composure sliding elegantly into place. She approached with a slow, careful stride. Well, she said, her voice smooth as polished glass. Back in town already? Noah cleared his throat. Yeah. Just visiting family for a bit. Audra's smile held an edge. Your family has a way of pulling people back.